So in going further, this is part 2 of 10. As I said, marriage is where you give your all with sincerity of heart. It is where you make selfless sacrifices. It is where you manifest those things where in Galatians, which says fruit of the Spirit, that's Galatians 5:22-23, calls it fruits of the Holy Spirit, such as love, joy, peace, faith, hope, humility, meekness, empathy, kindness, truth, gentleness. Like you'll be so humble, caring for one another, and there will be goodness, and all sorts of things like that. Marriage is not where you walk in the flesh or where you fulfill the lust of the flesh. No, marriage is not for that at all, because as I said already, marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled. So marriage is where you give it your all. You will not allow the lust of the flesh to manifest in your marriage. No. Because like as what's it called, Proverbs and Proverbs 6, Proverbs 6:16-19, and Galatians 5:19-21 calls it work of the flesh. That the things that the Lord hates, or the things that the Lord doesn't like, the things that shouldn't be found of Christians, such as things like pride. You shouldn't be somebody that you're so full of yourself, you're full of pride, or you're somebody that lie, or this person you want to get into. No, you need to check for all these things. Marriage is where you don't want lust, or you don't want fruit of the flesh, things of the flesh to have place in your home. You don't want to be somebody that after getting married, you're now the one that even speaking evil of your spouse. That is you shedding innocent blood. Because remember, as the Bible tells us, that the devil, your enemy, is roaming about like a roaring lion, seeking whom to devour. And you don't want to allow that in your marriage. You don't want things that, you don't want the one with the heart that devises wicked imaginations, the feet that is so swift in running to mischief. Yes, it happens in marriages. You'll be surprised. You don't want to be the one bearing false witness against your own spouse, lying to them. You don't want to be that one that you're causing trouble between your spouse and their friends or relatives or things like that. You don't want to be somebody with anger, with jealousy, that when it's well with your spouse, that you're not happy. And you don't want to be the greedy person that you only want me. You want everything to be yours. You don't want that hatred. And at the same time, marriage, when you love each other, you will refrain from fornication. You will refrain from adultery. So things that are unclean, you will refrain from it. Because you'll be surprised. Some marriages it's as if they're two rivals, like what's it called, cat and dog. In some marriages, it does happen, and you don't want your marriage to be like that. That's why you need to do all this checking, which, as I said, we've been talk to us about it, but this is guideline for us to know before you go into marriage, this person you want to marry, and even you yourself, you need to do all those checking. And such evil will not be our portion. No. When you go into marriage, two people, now you now become each other's enemy. God forbid, may we not see that. Love has to be sincere. Love has to hate evil. Love has to cling to something that is good. Love has to be devoted to one another, caring for one another, honoring one another, even above yourself. Living together in harmony. That is why the Bible is telling us about what love is. But if you see the commitment of marriage as something that is too much for you, that you cannot sacrifice, me, I'm doing this, I can't leave it too. I can't forgo this, I can't forgo that. That means you need to think again, and you have to do serious thinking. Think very well, again and again and again. Take for instance, as Paul said to us in 1 Corinthians 7. I read 1 Corinthians 7, which is verses 1 to 7. He said, "Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto the husband. The wife hath not power of her own body, but the husband. And likewise also the husband hath no power of his own body, but the wife. Defraud ye not one another, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency." Verse 6, "But I speak this by permission and not by command." I'm not commanding you. It's just an advice. It's just something I'm trying to give you. This is what Paul is saying here. "For I would not all men were even as I myself, but every man hath his proper gift of God, one after this manner and one after the other." Some people, they're able to say, "I don't want to be married, I want to stay single," and then at the same time still be devoted to the Lord God Almighty, be sincere and all those things. But some people cannot. So what Paul is trying to say, and that's why Paul is saying, I'm not commanding you. It's just a suggestion I'm giving you, or advice, or whatever you want to call it, or however you want to say it. Which Paul is just saying in a way for us to check ourselves. So marriage is not what you should go into with a selfish heart of wanting it your way. If the marriage should then break, because one thing is, if you're somebody that you're selfish and you go into marriage, you know yourself for who you are. If that marriage breaks through your selfish heart, it is a sin, because you used that person, you wasted their time, you you deprived them of what they could have done with their life, or probably somebody else which they could have married instead of you. You deprive them of so many things, because even along the line, being with you, they could end up even committing some sins which they shouldn't have. So that's why you need to think carefully before you decide that you want to go into marriage. So anyway, let me pause here again. This is part 2 of part 10, so let me pause here before going to part 3.